Good morning. I am here. And I'm ready. I got some coffee. Got a blanket. It's kind of funny. But anyway. Let's get going, shall we? So what's this mic doing? Is it okay? It seems okay now. Okay, so first of all, we're doing some more UI stuff. So let's just start the timer. I actually wonder, this thing is not stable. I actually wonder how much time I've spent on the game by now. So let's see. If you go by person here, I have done 15,700 and let's say 80 minutes. How much is that? 15,780 over 60. 263 hours. That's not too bad, right? That feels like I'm progressing quite well. But also, it seems like I am not forgetting to do this. It's obviously way more, but yeah. I mean, there is like an extra 40 hours or something that we also just have to consider. But like 300 hours already for this game so far. Now, it's not like I'm gonna just finish it in 400 or something. Well, there's probably a few more 300 hours coming up. But anyway, for now, I mean, that's a pretty good sign. At least I feel like I've progressed quite well, all things considered. Okay, so let's jump back in here. Now, okay, where were we? Okay, so I got the very basic UI working for the gameplay. Right, it looks terrible. Objectively, it's bad, but at least it's working, right? I'm pretty happy with the fact that I've at least gotten it to do, the basic stuff that I expect of it. Yeah, so now what I can do still is maybe, take this thing and let's just move it up a little bit. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize. So this one increases the size to add padding. So if I have like 15 there, 15 there. Interesting. So that's how it works. Okay. And this one, I should add 15 there. Just so they're aligned. Okay. And if I make this actually less. Yeah. Yeah, now it's just a little bit spaced out, right? Because it was going into the side there quite a bit. Yeah. Okay, that's nice. I mean, we can style these and make them look super nice in the future. Like I have, my wife has been making nice, like style, some nice UI stuff, right? Oh, I just realized I'm not even looking at the right screen. Okay, there's my chat. Right, we're gonna be able to. Oh, we want to design nice looking UI and all that stuff, but for now, I just want to figure out how it works and make it work, and then also make a very nice game with it. Okay. So, but anyway, in this top UI, I need a couple more things. So I need another label. Now, yeah, okay. So this is now where it's gonna get interesting. So this label. Yeah. Okay, so I need. You know what I need? Let's just see something here. What is tab view? Can I make things appear over top of this? That is pretty interesting, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, but I think what I need is more containers. So yeah, so I might have to go inside top UI and add like, one. So what I'm thinking is this needs to be inside of top UI. 1, 2, 3. All right, and this would be like top. What's that side? Left. Let's say top left. This would be top right. Let's say top mid. Okay, so we do left, mid, and right, and then these two go into top left, and then this thing, okay, and this label is top mid, and then this thing I want them to actually be arranged like that. Yeah, so now we have everything nice and spaced. So we have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and now what we can do from here. For some reason, these bars became way smaller now. Oh, you know what? It's because they take up a percentage, right? I think I made them like this bar is a percentage of. Where did I do that though? Is it? No, that's just the label. That's the value. Okay, so somewhere here I made them resize themselves. Width, okay, 15%. So if I make this more, it'll be more. So 35. That looks okay. Do something like that. Okay, so this thing's width. Okay, so I think percentage. No, not like that. Oh no, yeah, no, like that. Okay, so let's add a selector. Let's just make it top UI. Containers. Something like that. And we basically just take it over to that one, to that one, and to that one. And we say, okay, you guys all have, in terms of sizing, you are all the percentage, and it's 33.3. Okay, apparently that didn't work. So if I click this one, it is probably, yeah, so let's say unset. Okay, now they are set, right? So all the top containers now have Okay. And you know what we can do? So we can make this one auto. No, how the hell does that work? Okay, I don't understand this much. So if each of these have a width of 33%, why, when I don't give this one a 33%, do they push it over? Is it because they grow? No, but I don't think they should grow. If I unset that, unset, and unset. Okay, and I make this one grow. So now these two will be exactly 33.3%. This one will just fill whatever space is left, so everything's nice and spaced. Okay, and then actually this is kind of pointless now because, yeah. Anyway, okay, so let's just make this 33.3 again. Let's make this one 33.3. Oh, that's pixels. No, percentage. And percentage. Okay. So now they are equispaced. They're all the right size. Yeah, I overwrote so many of those things, so it didn't really make a difference. Okay, that's good. And now inside this, the bars can obviously also be bigger or smaller or whatever. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how big or how small, but anyway, that's okay. So now this guy. Okay, how do I want items aligned? Okay, definitely to the top. Okay, so we stretch it. Line items in the middle. Right, that makes the most sense to me. Okay, so this label would be the... this is the level timer. Okay, and are we obviously going to change its... data or the text? Yeah, okay. So this is going to say something like level 1. Would it have a level 1 and then 0000? Something like that, right? And then we would obviously... Okay, let's just see. So the text will align middle. Right, I think so. And we'll make it white as well. And make it bold. And make it quite a bit bigger. I actually don't think we need... I think we just put the timer there. Well, no, we do need to know what level we are on. So yeah, maybe we keep that. Yeah, with something like that, that's pretty okay. Any other things we can change with the text? I don't think so. Okay, so let's just make this like a 48, just a correct number. queue. Yeah, I think that's fine. So we just need to find it and update the text now, the level timer. And I think that's basically everything. Okay, and then here we normally had a button, like pause button or something like that. So we can go and just add a button. Right, so the button is not going to be that big at all. So first of all, let's just take the button, give it a name. So this is the pause button. Okay, and let's see. So we're gonna I wonder if I add existing USS, so then I can add to this. If I click that and I go to my UI, I can add this one, right? So now this button, if I drag it on there, it'll change it to look like the buttons on the front page. That's interesting, yeah. I can still obviously override properties, so I can still come here and be like, okay, that's very nice. But let's make it much smaller. And, you know, let's make the text quite a bit smaller as well. Like 25 maybe. And we can call it something else. The text, I mean, so something like pause. Yeah. Change the font back. I mean, now I'm probably... Make it bold. Eh. Let's use the Becking font, it's fine. Yeah, so now at least these buttons look the same all over. They're not necessarily a good thing. I might want to, you know, change that, but I'm okay with that for now. Okay, how do we want to align this again? Okay, so let's see, in this thing. So alignment for items must be to the side. Now what I don't quite understand, so okay. So this thing is aligning to the end. Okay, justify content. No, we just want that to the top. Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, you can stretch. That's fine. Why does the button not move? Or is there another thing in the button? It's got to align self. If I put that to auto, it'll follow. Yeah. Okay. So now the button is up there. Now we can still make it, maybe give it a bit of padding. Let's give it like a 20. Okay, I think that is everything that we need. So we got a way to pause the game. We have our level our level number and timer. We have a character level. We have health and spell juice. Yeah, that seems good. Okay, so let's save that. Okay, so this is now the pause button. And this is level timer. Okay, very good. So if we go in here, we now should be able to find, let's see. So in our game playing UI, we should be able to do private label. It's so annoying that I forget instantly what I call these things. Level timer. Okay, so this is the level timer. Okay, and then private button, pause button, right? I do hope that's what I called it. I'm pretty sure I should have called it that. Okay, so then I should change my spelling. Let's make the spelling consistent. So label like that, and this one label like that. Now it's obviously gonna break. But yeah, I did notice it. Okay, so Unity spells label like that, so I just want to keep it consistent. Yeah, and then inside of this, okay, I should then change it here as well. So that would be the character level. Oh, come on. Label. Okay, there we go. Alright, then we can just continue with this. Okay, so we want our level timer to be equal to root.q. So this is just a label, and label is called level timer. And then we want our pause button, which is just called pause button. Right, hopefully. Okay, now, okay, so we at least have them referenced, so now we just need to change them. Okay, let me drink some coffee. Okay, for the button, we can just add a listener. Yeah, so that will be something like this. So we could just do button.clicked and then let it do something. Right, so right here we can actually go pause button dot clicked, and we can do plus equals like that if we wanted. If we want to do a bunch of stuff, I actually don't know what we want to do with the pause button. So I think what we can do is we can actually just check in Unity. So our previous scene, our previous UI. So if we look at our game playing UI. Okay, so it also had a pause game button. So it was managed like this. So it seems like, okay, we were just activating and deactivating various menus. Okay, that makes sense. And we were also going to the game manager and toggling pause. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward to start off with. So yeah, let's keep it like that. And the first thing we do is game manager dot instance dot toggle pause, right? So that's the first thing we do, and then we also want to show the other UI and hide this UI, right? So we would have to hide UI. Okay, but there's another UI that we might want to show. Now, I was thinking about this. Should we have something like a UI manager? Just a place where all the different UIs are referenced. And that way we can easily go UI manager, for instance. You just go UI manager dot show or hide or whatever. Or just get a reference to the UI that we want. Right? We can obviously put it in here and reference it like that, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so right now, this would be the old pause menu that we have to show here. But yeah, for now, I'm not going to worry about that too much. I'll just leave it like that. But we do have to hide this UI, but we have to show the other one first. Anyway, regardless, let's see. Okay, so we got the pause button clicked thing done, and now we just need the level timer. So this one is interesting because the game manager obviously keeps the time, right? It's got the level timer running, and we can get level timer and we can update it on that side, or we can have the game manager go to the game playing UI and set the level timer as well, right? We can do either one of those things because we have the level timer over here. Yeah, so in the past it would set it directly. So as it was ticking, it would set the text. So we actually want this, but now nothing here sets anything or changes the UI. This is the only place where this happens. So we could simply have a function call here, public void update level timer text, for instance, and we could get a float, right? I think the game manager, let's see, level timer is a float, right? Yeah. Yeah, so we can do float level timer. Okay, and then over here we can do level. Oh, I can see already that this is going to be a problem because I call these the same thing. So let's call this one the level timer label. My level time label, and then we can do level timer label dot text equals this thing. So we go string dot format, and we just get this level timer, and we've updated it, right? And we can call this function every time the other one is called. All right, so right here. Sorry about that. Yeah, so right here what we can do is we can do game playing UI dot update level timer text, and we just give it the level time. All right, straightforward like that. Okay, so now that text would be updated from there. We have our show, we have our hide, we have our button. That should work. Okay, now... okay, this is the whole label. So we need a few more things. So yes, this does happen, but we also need level. Yeah, we need another parameter here. So we can make this parameter 2, I guess. and then we just do a new line. Okay, so that parameter needs to get, so this would be game manager.instance. Let's just see number, get level number. So that would be over there. So we don't need to get the level number every time, but it is all part of the same string that we need to format every time. So yeah, this is probably not the best way to do this, but it's not like I'm making some kind of a super performant code that needs to run at nanoseconds, or needs to do calculations in nanoseconds or anything like that, right? Okay, but regardless, this is fine. I think this is good. So now our level number would update. Our pause button can do something. It'll pause the game and hide the UI, and then it's broken, right? But we can at least test it, right? And that's okay. So let's test it. Let's see if it pauses the game and then breaks. What the hell? Okay, make sure everything is saved and compiled, and then we can quickly see how the game breaks. Okay, here we go. It's back. We have our level. Okay, I'm gonna let it break on the second wave, I think. Yeah, so I could pause, but I'm not gonna pause it now, because if I pause it now, it will absolutely get broken. So let's just go to the second. It'll get broken because I can't unpause it, right? There's no way to unpause the game right now. So go to level prep. Let's take the Robin start. There we go. Level 2. We've got our timer. And now if I pause, there we go. Game's paused. UI disappears. I can't do anything. I can't unpause. I can't. Yeah. So, but we know this would have happened. But at least. It's working. So I'm happy about that. So I think our game playing UI is done. So next up, what else do we have to create? We have so much UI to do, by the way, but yeah. Okay, but our gameplay UI, I think I'm happy with that. Now, if we go to, if we just look at our canvas over here, so we're going to tick this one off. I think let's make the pause menu. Yeah. I think I'm going to make the pause menu. Yeah, pause menu seems like a good way to go now. So just save this again and then create new. And then we say save as. So UI pause menu. I thought something wasn't right here. Pause menu. That's better. Save. Okay, pause menu, fantastic. Okay, so if we just click on this thing, yeah, I wonder if I keep it this small, if it's gonna work out for me. Probably won't though. Okay, let's just make it 1920 by 1080. Okay. Okay, and then we just add our visual elements. So we got one visual element like that. And I think inside of it, I can make my actual menu, right? So they'll be the same size now. But what we can do is we can just take this thing and say, look, I want the items aligned in the middle and in the middle. Right, so this thing is now in the middle. And I want to say it shouldn't grow. Right? And then the width, I'm just going to make that 50. Okay, so let's say 50%. Maybe it doesn't have to be that big. Let's say 35%. And height as a percentage, I don't know. Let's make it 60 by 30. Okay, so it's always going to sit there in the middle. Something like that, right? Just save that. I just want to see, how do I actually name? Oh, I just have a main container. Okay. That makes sense. Okay, so pause menu. This is my main container. We'll just call it the same thing. So this is the thing that I show and hide, right? Okay. So let's see. What do we need here? We need, well, primarily buttons and labels, right? So the first thing, let's just put a label in there. And then we do like, I think, 1, 2, 3 buttons. Something like that. Let's go to 2D canvas and we can show these. 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons. Okay. And just like game paused. Yep, that's a fine. Okay, and the buttons would be resume, main menu, settings, and restart. Okay, so we have resume button, main menu, main menu button, settings button, and restart button. Okay, now they all have names. We can obviously change the text in here. Okay, so you are my resume. Okay, this one is main menu. Okay, this one is settings. This one is restart. Okay, something like that. And this one is just the label, which has to say game paused. Okay, cool. So we can work with our game paused label. We can also give this thing a background, right? So if we look at this thing and we give it a background, currently it's got 0 alpha, but we can make it a little bit darker. Let's make like 100. Yeah, something like that. And we can even give it a border. Yeah. Give it some radius at least, right? Let's make it 40. Color. I'm not really worried about that. What is this? Is this the... Ah, yeah, that's what I need. Oh, we can make the borders different colors. Interesting. Okay, we can just remove everything. Let's just make it another 20. 20. 20. Just so that, you know, nothing can overlap here. What's that doing? 20. Right, that looks good. So now all my stuff will be nicely inside of the borders, no problem. Okay, that's looks good to me. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, no, this is... No. Could have changed them all simultaneously. Okay, we don't need a radius, a border color, I don't think. Any other interesting stuff we can do? Now, we can make the background an image, which, you know, we might do in the future if we ever get an image. Okay, so let's go back to our label. Alright, so the first thing is going to be a white label again. It's going to be bold. And we can make it our backing font, I guess. Alright, we can make it big, we can make it centered. We can make it even bigger, I guess. Okay, so let's see how wrapping works. So currently non-wrapped. If I make it wrapped, it'll do that. Okay. That's quite a bit too much, I think. Yeah, let's make it 80. Yeah, I think so. Okay, now these buttons, I think I can do a new USS. Why not? Right, and we can just call it pause menu style. Now, I don't know what I want that to have. Because maybe that's pointless. Because I might just go main menu and add button to all of these buttons, right? Like that. Yeah, I mean, why not? That doesn't look too bad. Okay, nice. Yeah, I don't think that's too bad. I can basically leave it like that. Okay, let's go make the code. So let's get this in the game. Okay, so what we're gonna have to add here is we're gonna do. I need a. So let's give this thing a parent. UI. Let's move it to the top here. Then I can create inside of it a UI document. And this would be the game paused UI. This is the same settings, right? They're all referring to the same panel. Settings, yes. Okay. Okay, so the source asset, this will be my new pause menu. right? Yep. And now we want a script. So inside UI toolkit, so we want to create a new. Well, actually, we already have a pause menu script, I think. Well, I thought. Spawn, no. Okay. Okay, so that's game, playing UI, game, paused UI. Maybe I changed this pause menu. Menu UI maybe instead. Let's just keep the naming a little bit consistent. Yeah, I think so. So we can create a script. Call it pause menu UI. Drink some coffee. Yeah, coldest coffee ever. Anyway, it's okay. We'll survive. Okay, then we can add a game. Oh, pause menu UI. We can add that over there. Open it up. Okay, so what do we want here? So we got basically just a bunch of buttons, so we don't really need too much. But on, so we need an on enable. And we kind of want to just do a bunch of this stuff, right? So we need the visual element root. Yep. That's always needed. Okay. And now we just need to go through and create our buttons like this. Okay, so we have a button. Let's call it the, well, what did I call these? This is annoying, kind of remembering what I call all these things. Okay, so we have resume button, main menu button, settings button, restart button. Okay. So resume button. Okay, so this is going to be equal to root dot q type button. Okay, and the button name is resume button. Okay, and we're basically gonna do this 1, 2, 3, 4 times because there are 4 buttons. So let's do it in the same order, just so we. So it's resume, main menu, settings, restart. Okay, so this one will be main menu, settings, and restart. Okay, and then this becomes main menu again. Why am I sneezing so much? Damn. Restart. Okay, there we go. We got all the buttons. Now we just need to tell all the buttons what to do. Okay, so we can do so resume button dot clicked. Is click the one that's not deprecated? Eh? That is the one we're using. So yeah, so we can do it like this, or like that, or we could just go to some other thing. Right, I might consider doing this because The reason is there might be a few buttons that do the same thing potentially, like settings. So I might do more of this in the future, but not right now. Or main menu, for instance, as well. Yeah. Yeah, because... Yeah, actually, that's a good point, because there's a lot of functionality that I might want multiple buttons to have. And it could be nice if, let's say, all your UI elements just had a reference to kind of like a common button manager, right? And because there is, and I did a similar thing already. So, wait. It's compiling. So I did a similar thing already. You'll see I have a... Where do I have this? Yeah, this change scene buttons, where I have a bunch of buttons that kind of do the same thing. So I keep referring to that script. Yeah, so maybe I add that to my main UI, and I add like... yeah, like something like create script common buttons. Common button. Yeah, let's just call it the common buttons script. And then, like, I could do it straight onto this UI, right? The empty one. When it loads. Yeah, so then I can add a component here. Common buttons. Right, and now what I could do technically is in my pause menu and in many other venues, I could just do a serialized field. And this could be private. Woo. Private common buttons. Just call it common buttons, right? And then okay, resume doesn't have to be a common button, but something like main menu could be common buttons dot main menu, right? And then in here I could just have like a public void main menu button, right? So there's a main menu button that when you click it, I just want this to happen. Right, so this would be similar to how this is working. So when you click the main menu button in any place, because I might put this button in multiple places, we can just have it do the same thing. We could potentially have the same thing happen with settings or something like that as well. Yeah. Okay, but so main menu is sorted, and then we can actually do well, it's not sorted, but you know, settings button dot clicked. So we want a plus equals. What do we want this one to do? Settings button. I think I'm just gonna do again a debug.log settings clicked. Okay, then restart button clicked. This one should restart the whole level. Should we be able to do that at multiple points as well? I think so. Yeah, so we'll have another one, public void restart button. So, and we'll put the functionality there, right? So, restart button clicked. We just do common buttons dot restart button. Right, something like that. Okay, so just the resume button. Basically, we need to go figure out what we want that thing to do. Yeah, so one of the things it should do is obviously hide this UI. So I think I just want something very similar to this in here. Right. So we need a main container. So main private. What's this? A visual element. Main container. Okay, and then right here we need to do a root. Well, no, visual. No, main container dot equals root dot qq. Okay, so we need a type of visual element, and it's called the main container. Okay, so we just need to show and hide. So that's exactly what we got. So on click, one of the first things we should do is the first thing is hide UI. Right, so we hide itself. Okay, now we want there to be a intermingling. Okay, so like I said, maybe common buttons is not common buttons. Maybe it is a UI manager instead. So the reason I'm thinking like that is then I can also have all the references to the different UIs, and then the different UIs only have a reference to it. And the nice thing about that is then, all my UIs only have one reference, and this thing has a bunch, but that's fine. Oh no. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, we can even get children, but I like the referencing thing. So let's call this thing the UI manager instead. Right, so we've changed it now. I hope there's no massive problems with that. I don't think there will be. I don't think I made a UI manager before. I doubt it. Alright. Yeah. So let's call you the UI manager as well. Right, and now what we can also do is we can have references to public references, I guess, so that other things can get to this. So public, and so what we want is like the game playing UI, and public pause menu UI, so things like this. And we can plug it in, and we don't have to do anything with it, but since it's plugged in, we can easily access that. So in the pause menu, if we want to say over here, do something with the game playing UI, we can, because we have the UI manager. So let's just rename this to UI manager. Yeah. I never like the way that looks. It's okay. UI manager, there we go. Now, yeah, it's gonna make field read only. Anyway, Okay, so when we do this, we can go to UI Manager. Let's just do UI Manager like that. Ah, jeez. UI Manager. Okay, there we go. So then we can do UI Manager dot. So we can just get the game playing UI dot show UI, right? So we just show the game playing UI, and we also want to do game manager dot instance dot toggle. No, not dot instantiate. What the hell? Instance dot toggle unpause, right? I think that makes sense for the resume button. Just to toggle on pause in the game manager. I don't know if that thing does something weird. Toggle pause, toggle unpause. Oh, okay, so that actually shows the game playing UI. Anyway, I don't know if I like that. Yeah, let's get rid of that. I kind of like the fact that it's all done within the UI, so that I know what this button does. Yeah, so we game playing UI dot show UI, and we toggle unpause. We hide our UI, everything's good. Yep. I like that. Okay, then in our UI manager, we obviously need to make sure these things do something. This one would do something like changing scenes. This one would also reload the scene, actually. So we can look at what our previous buttons did and just basically copy those. So if we go to our scripts, let's see. So over here we had, I called it change scene buttons. Yeah. So main menu did load scene. Okay. So we'll put that in there. And then restarted loaded my game scene, right? Okay. That's pretty much all it needs to do for now. Yeah, like I had all this listeners stuff here. I kind of like what I'm doing here. So this is just a function that gets ran when one of these, which has all the connections, are clicked. Which I think is more elegant overall. I think this is going to work well. I think settings should also actually just go there. Because we might have a settings button in a few places, right? So you could just always go to settings. But for now, I'm just gonna let it do that. Well, actually, we can let it do this, but we let it do that inside of the UI manager. So we could just do a public void settings button, and all it does is just runs that, which is okay. Okay, something like that. And then over here inside of our pause menu, what we do when we click this is just UI manager dot settings button. Okay, so yeah, the resume button will be kind of unique to this situation here, but these three, I should be able to click them from multiple places and they should work. Okay. We have a show and a hide. So now the only other thing is I need to show. So that I do in my playing UI. So when I do pause button clicked. Yeah. So I toggle pause, but I also need to do So I don't have my UI manager here. So serialized field, private, UI manager. Just do that, and then we can do UI manager dot pause menu UI dot show UI. So we just get a reference to our pause menu and show it. Now this should have been referenced. It is. Okay, great stuff. So we save. Now we just have to go plug in all this stuff. Now we should have a functional pause menu. Which is kind of crazy. Okay. Compiling scripts. Okay, so yeah, we just need to get the game playing UI, the game pause UI for the manager, and then each of these need to know about the manager, which, I mean, I could just get their parent, but you know, whatever. So now all the things have a manager, and the manager has all the things as well. Okay. I think that'll just work. Let's play and see. Okay. Yeah, okay. This is a problem. Okay. So we already have an issue. Okay, so the pause menu. So on enable, we just want to do maybe hide UI. Okay, so they can just set up everything and then hide itself, right? Do I do the same thing with my game playing UI? I hide it somewhere, I know that. Yeah, I might hide it not here. Anyway, that's okay. Let's try again. Okay, I see potentially an issue here. Let's just play and see what happens. Yeah, these buttons are quite big. Might not be a big problem, but we'll see. So, go to level, take the Duck Ninja, start the game. Everything seems to be working. And now we can do our thing. Pause. Yeah, so it's paused. Okay, yeah, no, these buttons are huge. If I click settings, it says settings clicked. If I click resume, it just resumes. We can pause again. We can click restart. I don't like that it's that slow. Right? Ooh. That is interesting. I wonder why that was the case. Okay, but that's my old UI, right? All that stuff is broken anyway, so. Okay, so for some reason these buttons really are too big. Let's remove that. And let's add our own button style here, and we'll drag it over, applying it to each of these. Okay, so let's see, what do we want this button to do? Right, so do we want it to grow? I think so. Yeah, they can fill up this space, and then we can add some padding. Not that much. Okay, and also not there. think this. Okay, so that's padding, and but I want margin, right? Yeah, that's what I want, margin. Okay, then we can go here with the text size and font. We can make the font big. Make it bold. No, don't make it bold. Make it bigger. I don't think I know what a percentage is. Yeah, I don't. Okay, we can put it middle. Okay, the font is a bit funny. Let's put some. Let's try it like that. I don't know. Okay, that looks okay. Okay, so let's just save that. So we'll see now in the game. It should look a bit better. Oh no, it definitely does. Let's just go play. It's a bit weird that this and the game doesn't quite look the same. Let's just see. Pause. Nah, this is okay. It's a bit actually maybe too spaced. So I wonder, so if I change this to full HD or QHD or 4K or whatever. Ooh, okay, no, free aspect just breaks it. Okay. Okay, but we have a pause menu that works. Fantastic. We're flying through this stuff. So we can go into this, and I might just want to make this thing, the background, a little darker, I think. Maybe like 150. Okay, and we save. So we save again. Because I'm paranoid. Okay, now we need to do one of the more difficult UIs. Which one do we want to tackle? I think let's do the level up UI. Right, so if we look at this, I could just take the UI manager and do that, right? If I want to get rid of that here. So pause menu. I just want my level up UI showing so we can see what this looks like. Okay, so this one's a bit complicated. We're gonna have to build quite a few things, right? Yeah, so if we just show this, so it needs to show all the stats on one side, give you an area to do all the upgrades with these buttons and kills and stuff like that, and all that stats. And then this is just the buttons, right? So we need to separate the screen in 3 containers, which are not that's not so difficult, so it's okay. We need stats, we need level up, buttons and stuff, and then we need some other nonsense here. Okay. And then we need one of these for each character. Okay, let's just save that again. So new. And we'll save this one. Character level up. Right, because I kind of like the way that worked, right? I don't think there's a problem with that UI. So I think we can just build another one like that. Okie dokie. So this is going to be quite a job now. Okay, so first of all, let's just make the... this is 1920 by 1080. Right, we make it fit, and then we could add... Yeah, you know what? Let's create a new USS from the start. Character... level up style. Okay, just so we have it, because we're gonna need it. Okay, so now we have that, and we can add things like we go. Okay, so first of all, we need a visual element over here, and this is gonna be my main container, which is the one we show and hide. And now inside my main container, we need quite a few more visual elements. Let's make another one. U. Control D. Okay, so if we have the 3, I think that's okay. So 1, 2, 3, right? I wonder if we should do one at the bottom and then the other 2 next to each other. I kind of like that idea. So let's do that. Right, so now we have this one, we have this one, and we have these 2. Okay, so we'll make the bottom one smaller, because this is just going to be, I think, one for buttons, right? So we'll add the buttons to the bottom one. So now I can have a main menu and all the other buttons, I think. Okay, so then this one, I think we're going to make it a line like that. And the same with this one. And then we can have 1, 2, 3... I don't know, 4 buttons, so we'll have like main menu, restart, settings, level prep, for instance, something like that, right? So we'll have our buttons like that. And then we have these 2 and yeah. Okay. Okay, I don't know what I just changed, but this is not what I want. Auto align items, I think justify content. Align self, you should stretch. Start, middle. You know, stretch. Auto. Hey, this guy. How are you doing? I am doing well, I believe. I already have... So I think I clicked with... well, I have my own way of using UI Toolkit. Let's just get that out of the way. I'm sure there are many different ways and better ways of doing this. But I got one that works for me. So I've already created... the game playing UI, which is like your health bar and all that good stuff, right? Which works. It's not beautiful. I'm just trying to make everything work now, and then obviously we can always edit the looks later. But if all the code and stuff like that is connected, I'm happy. My main menu works as well, and then I also made a pause menu. So all those things are working nicely, so you can play the game with the UI Toolkit, and it's good. Now I'm trying to make the level up screen, which is right. You might remember that's quite a lot of stuff. Right, it's all this stuff. So we need something over here, we need all this with the different characters and then some buttons and stuff. So I'm trying to build this now, which is going to be more work. But I figured out a way of connecting my existing code with UI Toolkit. It actually doesn't require that much reworking. Somehow. Most of my code so far is just connectable. Which is pretty cool. Look, I have to write a little bit of a script, obviously, but it's really not as bad as I thought it would be. Okay, but so we have a bunch of buttons. I want this visual element to be way smaller. Yeah, so height, it needs to be like 10% of the total height. And it shouldn't grow. Right? No, you shouldn't grow. So that's the maximum amount of space I will allocate it. And I think then... okay, direction, that's fine. If I align the buttons like that, perfect. Okay, cool. So we have our buttons. We'll obviously change the size and all that good stuff. But, yeah, there we got some buttons. Now let's look at the other one. Okay, so I do not want these to be the same size. This one, which will hold the data, is going to be smaller. So let's tell it to not grow. Right, so the other one grew and took its place, but we'll give it a width. And let's make it a percentage as well. 20%. Nah, okay, a bit more. 35%. So then over here we can do all the level up stuff, and then over here we have all the character data showing. Good. Okay. Now I need to figure out how to put everything in here. Ooh, this is going to be an interesting one. Yeah, so I see I have this list view. I don't know how that works. So we have a list view. This is a new one now. So how does it get the data? Suppose... what is in here? Oh, okay, so it's got a scroll wheel inside that. So then it's okay, and the scroller, all that good stuff. Damn. So how do I use a list view then? How do I add things to it? Where do I add the things to it? Could I just, let's see. If I just pop a label inside there. Where did it go? Okay, undo. So if I put a label. So I'm not quite, no, okay, so that's not the way you do it. How do you use a list view? It seems pretty useful, but I have no idea how to enter now. Item template. Visual tree asset. Don't know what that means. Huh. Yeah, even if I drill down, it's not super... Okay, so we have this content container. I'm assuming maybe that's... yeah, that might be where I put the stuff, right? I might have to go and actually just put it into the content container. So if I put a label... I'm not able to do anything with this, right? No. Why can't I put a label inside my content container? Where am I supposed to put? Okay, let's Google something, shall we? Oh, you started a new game, a 2D brawler. Yeah, no, I could imagine that's different from a platformer. What does brawler mean? Is it something? Oh, it's like a. What is that game? Smash Bros or something. Golden Axe. Golden Axe and TMNT. The only thing I know that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Wow. Ah, okay, cool. Why can't I see what this game is? Why is this such a bad... Is it one of these? Is this the game? Or is it like a Tekken game where you know, two players fighting each other? That I guess that's the... Not like Tekken. Okay. Yeah, I know those type of fighter games are incredibly hard to make because the I mean, you can make them. What is Double Dragon? Ah, okay. Okay. Yeah, this is a much better type of game to make. Because I know the fighting games, the fan base is just hectic, right? Because your movements and things need to be perfect, pixel perfect, and they super adamant that there shouldn't be any lag or input delays or any other type of thing. And then obviously making all that work over multiplayer is another thing as well. Okay, but I want to do how to use list view container in UI Toolkit Unity, right? I get what it is, but I don't understand why I can't put anything in here. It's not actually... Let's just go to the docs instead. Yeah, okay, so this doesn't help me. List view, make item, bind item. Okay, so let's say... So what is it that is happening here? So I have my list view, right? Okay, so that's fine. Okay, this is just setting up some stuff, but how do you populate it? don't necessarily want that. I don't care about this. I just want to populate it. With a bunch of labels. Or maybe I'm not understanding the use case for list view correctly. Can I only work with this in code? Is that what they're trying to tell me now? Okay, but normally with these things you can just you can come in here and you can change an attribute. Okay, let's try something. Let's go to our... Okay, let's just save. Yeah, let's save that. And let's do... Let's go to Unity. Oh, I am in Unity. What the hell? Okay. UI Manager, we can... So let's add a new UI toolkit, UI document, right? And this would be the character level up UI. Over here, we want to add in our character level up. And then we want to add a script. Now, this is where I already have a character level up UI script. So technically, I just want to edit that to work with this. So let's do that. Character level up UI. Right, okay. So this is a mess. We're going to change quite a bit of this. Okay. So we could obviously do the label trick and just make a label and all that. But it would be kind of cool if we could do this a little bit more cleverly. If we can't, I'm 100% don't have a problem making it the dumb way. I thrive on doing things that way. Okay, so one of the first things we should do is we should just get our root. So let's just do here an on enable. On enable. Okay, so typically we just do the root is a visual element. Yeah, so let's just do this thing like we do all the time. So just get the root. Okay. Now, let's see. Okay, now we already have problems here because I have UI and UI elements. Okay, so maybe we are gonna break this game super hard now. So if I delete that. Yep. Okay, well now it just kind of assumes we're using UI elements, which is what we want. Okay, so if we do root, so let's just see, root dot q, and what we want is a list view. What the hell did I just do? Root q type of list view. What can we do with the list view? Okay, so let's do a list view. Let's call this. I'm just gonna do something stupid quickly. So we should get the list view like that. Now, if I do list view dot, what can I do? Allow add, yeah. Okay, so binding. Is okay, so let's go read the documentation. So what is the binding? So allow add properly allows the user to block the addition of an item when clicking on the add button. It must return true or false. Okay, that's fine. Binding path of a target property to be bound. Okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. So okay, so it's got the item template. Yeah, I don't know what an item template is or how to work with it. Alright, cheers, man. Cheers, this guy. Enjoy it. I'll be here figuring this out. Hopefully. I might not, but I'm gonna try. Okay, so let's see. We create some list of data. So items is a new list string item count. So it's a string list. Item. Oh, that's just the length of the list. Okay, that's fine. Okay, then we just add a bunch of numbers, right? So we have a massive list of numbers, which is potentially what we want. Okay, so here we make a label. So this is a function that makes a label or something. This looks so weird. Doesn't even look like proper. Anyway, so then we bind. So we get two things. So okay, so we take E, which is label dot text equals items I. Okay, then we get our list view. So at some point, list view dot make item, bind items equal to bind items. So where do we call any of this? Like where's this? This is quite... okay, this is not some dumb thing. This is pretty legit. Yeah, so make item. This is this function here. So it'll make a label. Bind item is this over here, which needs E, which I'm not quite sure what E is for. So it takes okay. We'll recycle elements created by make item and invoke the bind item callback to the associate. The element with the matching data item specified as an index in the list. Okay, so the list. Okay, so I'm assuming the list view gives or has some kind of an I. Okay, so if I understand this correctly, we defined a function here with two inputs. I'm not sure what E is. Okay, so we have an action, visual element. Okay, so the visual element, this would be, we call it bind item. E is, oh, it's type label E. So we cast it to E.text and we change the text to item. It makes sense now. Okay. So it's a visual element of type label. We make it a type label. Yeah, I don't know this type of coding. It's like I don't understand how this is C# anymore. This seems like way different from how I would normally do anything. Like how is action func? Are these different because of UI Toolkit? Is this how UI Toolkit does functions? So bind item and make item are actions and functions. That's pretty interesting, I must say. Okay. So make item, and then list view dot make items make item. Okay, so let's see if I can figure this out. And I might not, right? This is weird, I must say. Ooh. I'm sneezing a lot today. Don't know why. Okay, so this looks just like a lambda expression, so I get what's happening here. I just don't know how this works. Like what is the action word? Is this a new keyword? Because it's not my normal public void, function name type of thing. So func and action. Like this is a func, which we're declaring a function, right? The function has some kind of a... Is that the input or the output? Will be called as needed when the list view needs more items to render. So it seems like it outputs a visual element. And it returns essentially a label? I don't understand why this looks like some other programming language, to be honest with you. Anywho, let's see if we can figure this out. So I'm gonna do a bit of this so that I can see what I'm doing. Okay. So let's figure this out. Okay, so first of all, let's clean up some of this stuff. So let's create our list view over here, or a reference to it at least. So list, come on, view. We'll call this the character data list. List. Wow. So we just need to be careful here. What do we call this? So private. I think this was the more character stats. Right, so we call that Okay, so then we don't have this. What we can do is we just see more character stats is equal to some list view. So we can go into Unity, not the hub, and we can rename this list view to more character stats, right? And save it. So what we are actually interacting with, it seems like, is this binding over here. It seems like. I'm not quite sure how list views work, but I'm figuring it out. Okay, but anyway, this thing has a name now. It's called more character stats, which is perfect. Okay, so we just need to plug that in here. More character stats. Okay, so we got our more character stats, which is a list view. Now, if we look at what's happening here, so first of all, I don't know what this is. I don't think I need to create a list view, right? I created it manually in the editor. Okay, so let's see. So we might need a list of items, right? I get that. Let's say we would have a list of items, I guess, somehow, some way. I don't actually know if we have a list of items, to be honest. Apparently this broke. A few things are going to be broken now. Okay, but this thing does a bunch of other stuff as well, which is needed. This is quite a big class, to be honest with you, but you know what? It's okay. Okay, so we have our list view. So what do we want? I'm just going to copy this, and I want to see what it... Like, is this okay? Func. I've never used func. Oh, that's what it outputs. I've never used this before. Where is this coming from? Huh. So, and could I just do a private, let's say, output a label and call it, well, I don't know, make, well, we could actually, let's, so if I did this the way I understood it, make item, right, if I did that, and I just return a new label. So now I have a function called, it returns a label. This one returns a visual element. So I don't know if that is maybe better. So if I make it return a visual element, and label is a type of visual element, right? I'm going to try this. I'm just going to see, because I also don't know the action. What is action? Delegate void system.action. Like, this must be... Isn't this just a function as well? I've never seen these keywords. I guess I'm learning. But it seems like it's just a function that takes in a visual element and an integer. So if I do again a private... Oh... What does it return, though? This one returns nothing. It just does something. So void, we call it bind item. Right? And we take in a visual element and a int. And we call it visual element E, right? E and int I. Isn't that just the same thing? That is just binding item of type visual element E int I. That is how I understand that. Now, this is obviously some kind of a shorthand or something. But now what we can do is we can do exactly the same thing where we say we cast E to a label. Okay. We take the label, or we cast E. We take E, which is a visual element. We make it a label. We get the text, and we set the text equal to some list that I have somewhere that I don't actually have. So let's just say private. Let's make a list. What is in this list? This should be a list of strings, I would say. And we call this the more character. Let's just call it the. I don't know. Okay. More character stats list. And maybe we call this the more character stats list view. Just so it's more obvious, I guess. Okay, but what we basically can do then is, we could do that, I guess. But we can also just take the text and make it into the more character stats list index I. Right, now if I understand this correctly now, so my list would have a bunch of elements in it. Now when I make a call to okay, that's just when I select items. Okay, but now what I can do is I can do more character stats. Oh, come on. There we go. It's that one. That's the one I want. Why does it act like it doesn't? No, I see. This is not inside of a script. Yeah, how did I actually do that? Yeah, so we got the list view. Yeah. How are they just doing that? Shouldn't this be in a function somewhere? I don't understand what's happening here. Okay, but if I do make item and I make it equal, okay, you know what? Let's do it over here. So more characters list view, right? Dot make item equals make item, right? So that, if I understand this correctly, the make item property is now set to this function. So whenever it wants to do that, list view dot make item, which is a type of, it's a function. Oh, I see. Okay, so that is a type of function with a visual element output. Now, technically, this is also a type of function with a visual element output. So this should be fine. Right. So that's okay. And then I could also connect the more character list view dot bind item to my bind item function, which should also work because this requires a action. Oh, I see now. That's why we worked with the keywords funcs and action, even though they seemed like exactly the same thing as they're all just functions. I believe. This might not work, right? This could just break. But anyway, so if I now do more character list view dot item source. Okay. So item source is now my more. This must be a list of some kind. Okay, so now I've connected my source, and then I don't need a selection type. I can just do this. So now my list would update with whatever the stats is in here. Now, if I change my stats, it should update, hopefully. Okay, so we might have to change these to be the same as what this thing actually requires. Okay, but I think we go doing something right here. Now, a very important thing. Okay, so show more character stats. Okay, this is fine. More character stats now needs to become a list. So we need to figure out a way to make all our stats into a list. Well, all our stats... No, not all our stats. Ah, geez. So this is a list of strings. Okay. So let's think about that. How do we populate this? So previously, let's see how I did it, right? I might have done this already. I think I did do it at least partially. Probably not perfect, but anyway, that's okay. Let's see, more character stats UI. Okay, update more character stats UI. So we get the character, and we call this. Okay, so we take the text, the labels, blah, blah, blah. Yep, so for each stat in character stats list. Okay, so we go through this. Okay, that's kind of what I want to do, right? Hey, Code Bylan. I think that's how you said it, right? I'm doing well, thanks, and you? I am doing well. Is it not Code Bylan? I'll just call you Code then. How are you doing? Is it not English? What language is it? Turkish. Oh, okay. I won't have any chance. Maybe if it was some African language, I could figure it out. Ah, 2 words, yeah. Ah, you're the code knower. Or the... something like that, right? The person who knows how to code. Code Bylan. Ah. I'll just call you Code then. Okay, so this is how we update the character stats UI, right? So this is quite rough, I must say. So, but let's copy this at least as a reference, right? So, all of this is going to go into our character level up UI eventually. So, let's slap it in here. Now, this is terrible. What am I building? I am building. I should really put this somewhere in my description because I don't mind answering it. But I've had this thought before where I thought to myself, I should update this, but I never do, which is bad. But anyway, I'm building a roguelike survivor type game. I know, very, very new and innovative. Currently, I'm just fighting with the UI, right? I had to redo all the UI. Okay, I know, you can't even look at that. Yeah, sorry. Normally I would give you a quick demo, but I've broken so many things now that I probably can't give a demo even if I want to. Come on! Okay, but here's the idea. So I can quickly tell you at least, where's my player? Okay, yeah. So the idea is you play as a party of birds. So the main thing, I want to make the game work as a party. Not necessarily multiplayer, but multiplayer would be cool. The main idea is you have a party of characters, so you're not just playing with one character that you level up. You level up a bunch of characters. And the idea is they give each other different bonuses and perks and whatever. And you can only play with one of them per level, but you can switch them out, right? If anybody dies, somebody else can take over, and then they'll respawn a little bit later. So it's roguelike. If your whole party gets wiped out, you're dead. If one gets wiped out, you can still recover because they will respawn eventually, or they'll revive, right? So that's kind of the idea, right? Now, what makes it interesting is, like, just to give you an idea, I have 4 characters. They each, now at the moment, so I haven't done items or anything like that. I need the UI to work first. But for these 4 characters, they each give us a buff in some regard. So the Ranger would do she does a attack speed buff. The Knight gives you an armor buff. So the attack speed buff is for everybody. The Knight gives an armor buff for everybody. The Owl, a wisdom buff, which basically increases the rate that you level up as. And then the Duck gives you a movement speed buff, right? He's a ninja, right? So with those buffs, you can already go and say play a game where you just have 4 ducks, for instance. And you're going to have the speediest team in the world. Or you can play with 3 ducks and an owl. Or, so I kind of like where it's heading, where, you can already have like 24 different combinations of team composition with just 4 characters. And I want to add way more characters. So it's going to be, I think it's pretty cool, right? Let's see what you are. Can you change them mid-fight? So you can only select a character at the start of the level or if they die. So you go into a level and you're kind of locked in. And then if you die, somebody else can come in and save the day, so to speak, finish that level wherever you were at. So if, let's say the chicken goes in, he dies, the Robin can come and just finish it off, right? So that's fine. And then you can progress to the next level and then select a new character, etc., etc. You don't have to try very hard to break the game currently, I can tell you that. It just breaks itself. It's kind of funny. Yeah, actually the game works pretty well. Like, there's a lot of stuff working for it. I just don't know if I can actually show anything. Maybe I can, because I'm breaking my UI quite a bit. Like, I just added all this, right? So look at all the errors. Let's see. Let's see if I save this, if it compiles. It should compile, I think. Yeah, totally compiles. And then I'll just switch off the character level up UI from there. Let's see if it plays. Damn it, there's a compiler error. Yes, it's... damn it. I know what the compiler error is. So I need using Unity engine.ui. I need that, and then I should take image. So this I should just make. I think I can do Unity engine .ui .image. If only I could spell, that would be great. Right? That works. That fixes the temporary issue. So now this should compile, I think. I don't think there's any more errors. Yeah, and if it compiles, we can run it. Let's see. Please compile. Like, hopefully, and since I switched that part off, it shouldn't break anything. Oh no. Okay, there are some broken things. Let's see if we can... Oh, damn, we only have chickens. Okay, yeah, we can't even start the level. Damn. Well, that's unfortunate. Wait, what is causing this? Player manager. What is your problem? Don't know why. Yeah. This is the problem when you when you are midway through a big update, right? It's just broken now. And it's going to stay that way until I finish fixing the UI. So let me continue fixing the UI. Okay, so where was I? Character level up UI. So what we want to do here. Okay, so I want to make this work. It doesn't have to do the same thing exactly, but it's going to do something similar. Update more character stats UI. So I think this should update the list, right? The more character stats list. Yeah, it should add strings to it. Okay, cool. So let's see what we have here. We have values, we have labels. I don't know if this is necessary. Let's see if we can fix this. So what if we make this a string, values, right? And we put a string, string and call it labels. Ah. I keep trying to spell it in the British English. Hey, that's pretty cool. Well, at least you've got quite a bit of experience in game development. But yeah, Pokemon Go is... it's an interesting game. I think you can make it. It's weird, right? Many apps are quite easy to make and very difficult to scale. Right, I'm sure you can make a Pokemon Go game, but then to make one that works, or well, that has some kind of a ridiculous backend where thousands of people all over the whole world can log in and, you know, data is synced and they can play together and they can send characters, whatever. That becomes the problem. Yeah, exactly. They had trouble when they started. Okay, let's see. I don't know why I do. Okay. Oh, this is just the character name. So this should just be string character name. Now, I don't know why I'm doing it exactly like this, but anyway, we have values, we have labels, we have the character name. And the character name we can just get and format from our character data, replacing, yeah, okay, cool. So that's fine. Now we have to go through our, yeah, I remember back in the day, yes, like it, 2016, I can't believe that it's like flipping 9 years ago. Playing Pokemon Go in the parking lots of every single Those were the days, eh? Used to get so many steps in. Okay, so let's see. We go through our stat SO list. I mean, this is just horrible, but anyway, we go through it. And what we do is, okay, we can just do values. So we can add to the values string, and we can add to the labels string. Yeah, actually we don't want to add values and labels like that. I want to add them in one thing, right? Yeah, so let's just do label text here. And let's get rid of the idea of a value. So we just have label text, and we take label text, and we add to it a string. So what do? So in the first instance, we add the stat name. Okay, that's okay. And then we do something like stat name, maybe a colon, and then okay, wait. I can now kind of see where I was going with this, because I wanted to format them in a very specific way. Yes. Okay, let's go back to this. Okay. Yeah. I remember now why I did it this way. So you have values, you have text, and the values would have... Yeah, because it's difficult to format. If I just concatenate the strings, they'll all be squashed to the side. If I want the name, a little bit of space, and then I want to justify the rest to the other side, I need 2 columns, basically. Yeah. Okay, but anyway, now we have a string. Okay, now what we should do is, while we're going through this, we should actually put these things inside of our list. So, yeah, so maybe we have a values list and a... So would it make sense? Okay, let's see. We have... okay. So this is our list view, right? We could also do a multi-column list view. So how would a multi-column list view work? I guess it would work the same. We just have... So let's drag it in there, right? Just plop it down. So let's see, what do we have? So for this one, we have obviously our binding source and all that good stuff. Okay. Here we have 2 columns. Will it still do... It doesn't let me populate the 2 columns separately, I think. I don't think it does that exactly. Or does it? I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe I can populate the columns separately. Okay, we need to Google. Let's see. So this is... Where am I here? I'm just in list view. Okay, visual elements reference. Let's see if we can find... So we don't want a list view. We want the multi-column list view. Let's see how that's different. Hopefully it's not too different. Multi-column list view. Let's click on that. Let's see how this works. Yeah, you see, this is exactly what I want. Like name, value, right? So obviously you can do other things with it, but this is kind of what I need. I need a thing that gives me the stat name, so just damage, movement speed, whatever, and then the value needs to be in its own column so I can make them nice and aligned. Okay, so it seems like we still do pretty much the same idea. Okay, this is quite nice. multi-column list view dot columns dot add. Okay, I see. So I don't need to add a column necessarily, but I do need to take to get the column and then add a binding path, etc. Yeah, because the binding path is going to be my problem. I mean, okay, so we have... Let's figure this out. Okay, we have a bind item. Is that the same? Ah, jeez. This is not... It's not that easy, is it? Do you want to see... Okay, so let's see. So we have a class monster. The monster has a name and now we don't necessarily do it exactly like that, but anyway. So then we have a list of monsters. Yeah, that's probably not a bad way to do it anyway. Okay, but I'm gonna do it the bad way, I think. Yeah, I should really code like this. I don't know why I haven't. Yeah, I know why I haven't. It's because of a lack of knowledge, right? Okay, yeah, so our monster list is our binding path. Okay. I don't know what these mean, but we have two columns that we just add names, etc. Okay. Monster list view dot bind so. Don't know what so. Oh. Oh, okay, it's a team. Okay. I see what they're doing. Yeah, I should have done this type of thing a long time ago, maybe. Because... Okay, let's think about it. Let's see if we can get there. Okay, so we have a list view. We could have two list views together, but that seems kind of foolish. And then you can scroll through them separately. Yeah, that won't work. Okay, so we're gonna have to go with the column. Okay. So let's say, let's go private, multi column list view, right? Okay, multi column list view. It's just a character stats. Okay. Save. Okay. So I wanted to make a string. This is bad, right? So let's. I hate what I'm doing right now, but I'm just gonna go with it. It's fine. Okay, so let's make a private class. And this class is gonna have, okay, it needs a name. So this is just gonna be my more character stats. I don't know. I might Okay, this might be okay. This might be okay. So what we need here is a public string, which is the, let's just call it the label, or the stat name, right? And then a public float, which is the stat value, right? So if we do that, and then we make a list of type more character stats, and you call it a more character stats list, right? Okay, this doesn't work now. Okay, yeah. So we need to get it, and then the text. Okay, so actually a lot of this stuff is not going to be relevant anymore, because we're not doing it this way anymore. Yeah, we're not going to use the list view. We're going to use a column view. Crying out loud. Okay. Multi-column. Okay, so we want this. We want this. Those are other problems. Okay, so we want to get this, and it's just root dot q multi column list view, and the name of this thing would be, I don't know. Well, it doesn't have a name yet, right? I didn't give it a name, so let's just go give it a name. Okay, so multi-column list view. I'm just going to call it more character stats, right? I mean, don't do that normally, but delete. There we go. Now I can call it that. More character stats. Okay, so now we have more character stats. What? What are you crying about? Property cannot be null. I don't understand. Oh, what the hell? Clear. Oh yeah, that's okay. This thing is a little confused. I'm just gonna let it be confused for a bit. Okay, so this is just more character stats without the 0. Okay, so okay, so before we go into this a little bit, oh, okay. Oh, they would create one. Okay. We can add the columns, I guess. So character stats. Okay, dot add. Then we do new column. Okay, so name. Okay, binding path, name, title, name. Oh, that's just the column names. Ah. Aryan Arc. Aryan Arc. Aryan. Aryan. I don't know how to say that on YouTube. Hello. How are you doing? Are you from Nepal? I'll be honest. I would not be able to point that Nepal out on a map at the moment. Where is that? Is that like... It's far from here, I know that much. Okay, so this is a new column. I guess all this is... Okay, wait, if we do a binding path name... I don't understand what exactly they're doing here. Bind the scriptable object with has a monster scriptable object monster team. I see. So we bind this. It has a list of monsters in it. Monster list. Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, so we create a scriptable object, monster team, and then we bind it. That's interesting. I wonder... So it's bound, so it'll just go in the column for binding path name, so it'll go to there, title name, and for moves, it'll go there, moves. That is actually quite interesting. So let's try that. So binding path, we can say stat name. I'm gonna try and do it this way. I want to use this not in the way I can make sense of it, but in the way it's intended, if that makes any sense. So title can just be equal to stat. It's fine. And then stretchable equals true. I'm gonna really try and make this or use this in the intended manner. True. Okay. You're also learning game dev. You started yesterday. Well, if you only started yesterday. Okay, wait. How long have you been coding? Oh wait, I need to do column this dot columns dot add new column. That way, that's better. Like game development is probably one of the hardest type of not hardest type of development you can just jump into. So how much development experience do you have? And even if you don't have any, that's fine. I don't know if I want a title. Maybe I don't want a title. Okay, so technically we've now created two columns. So if I understand this correctly, I have my column list multi-view. I got the reference. Then I created two columns and I bound those two columns to this in some way. Not quite yet. It's not perfect. But somehow I did that. Then they also go and they actually create a scriptable object. Now, I need to be careful here because this should work. Yeah, I don't know if I want this to be a scriptable object, to be honest. You made some player movement scripts yesterday. What are you working in? Like, what engine did you decide to go with? So let's see if I can figure this out, right? So we created a column, and so this is just basically a column with a binding path stat name, right? I'm assuming that when you create a column like this, you kind of, the binding path, so then we can bind a scriptable object. Is that, should we bind a scriptable object? Is that a thing we do? So what if this data changes? Right, so we could bind a scriptable object. Yeah, this is a little complicated. Survival game? I don't know. Why are you saying survival game? What game engine are you using? Is there a game engine called survival game? Okay, yeah, so we have name, moves, then the different mouse names. Okay, name of the... Okay, I see what they're doing here. They kind of nest the columns. Okay, I need to figure out something else. So, yeah, orange dragon moves. Okay, ooh, okay. Is this what I'm trying to make right now? Yeah, I want something more like this. Creates a volume column, yeah. Yeah, so moves, so name. So moves is a list of moves. And a move is something with a power, a name and a power. Okay, I see. Okay, you're also using Unity. When you rotate the camera, the player moves. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's so much that you can do in Unity. I don't know how your camera is set up. Are you using Cinemachine? Are you not? Did you even follow a tutorial? Do you have previous coding experience? Okay, so let's think about this. So maybe we don't worry about the binding path so much. Okay, but technically we should have 2 columns now, right? At least. We don't need... bind the to data. So this is binding into data. To a data source and automatically populate rows, column based and provided data. For example, you have scriptable object with following structure. Okay, so let's think about this. So we have a class with more character stats, and we have a list of that. Okay, so can I go and populate these columns using the stat name and the stat value? So it seems like, okay, so let's see. So they bound the scriptable object, which is just a list. Let's try something. Let's do character dot bind. Huh. Oh. Bind item. Ooh, could this work the same way? Okay, it says deprecated. Oh, use list view dot bind item. Okay. So they tell us to bind a scriptable object. Is that the way you do it? Is this the correct way? So we have to create an instance of a scriptable object. So we can define the scriptable object, then we create an instance of the scriptable object, which is just holding the character stats, which I don't like. But it seems like that's how it works. At that point, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, so my... Yeah, maybe I should have used list view instead. I don't know. I might still be able to do this. So we got more character stats. Okay. You know what? Let's just do it the way they want us to do it. See how it works, and then go from there. I think so. So they want us to put this list inside of a scriptable object, right? So let's just do that. Let's make a public class. I mean, it's kind of dumb. I don't really like what I'm doing right now. Scriptable object. Okay, and then inside of it, we just put this list as a public. Okay. Don't know why it's upset with me. What's wrong? I guess no, what is wrong? What is your problem? Inconsistent accessibility field type list is less accessible than field type wait, what? Field type list more character level up UI, more character stats. Where is that? Character stats is I don't know if okay. Show potential fixes. It doesn't have any. I don't understand what the problem is though. So let's see. Field type list character level up UI more character stats. Where is this list? It's less accessible than character. More character stats. Okay, I don't understand how. Character stats dot more character stats list. Oh, maybe this must be public. Yeah. Okay, I see now. Okay, this makes sense. Yeah. It couldn't get that because it's inside a different class. So it couldn't work across. Yeah. Okay, so if we have this, we got this. Then what we can do over here is we can create. So we should maybe make a function that we can call. Potentially. I don't know. Let's call a function public void create, and let's just say bind so to column list. I don't know what I'm doing right now, but anyway, let's just do that, and then we go character stats dot well, what we want. Oh yeah, wait. First, we want just to create our new SO. So var SO equals new character stats. Right, and what we put into it, they put the monster team in. Oh no, not like that. So new serialize object. So of type or with character stats, right? Monster team. Just give it a name like that. No, not like that. Okay, so scriptable object, new serialized object, monster team. Where did the monster team come from? Did we have a monster team? I thought we would bind that. Maybe this is just... What do I need to give you? Okay, new serialized object. And takes a object. I see them making the monster team, but I don't see where they made the monster team. Like, what is this referencing? Surely it's not this. Okay, what if we just do new character stats? Right, that is a scriptable object. Okay, then we can do character stats dot bind. No, bind SO. SO. Okay, and doesn't like that. Okay, so why? Doesn't contain a what? I don't understand how this works now. Oh, what am I doing wrong? I mean, I don't like any of what I just did, so... Like, making this felt bad. I kind of like this idea, a class, more character stats, or a list of a class. I feel like I can then make this list that has now the stat name and the stat value over here. So what I can do, okay, so let's do that. Let's make that class. So we go through the stats. So the value, yeah, so what we can do, and so we can get the stat value. Wait, okay. Let's make this bigger. Let's just fix that. Okay, so let's populate this list, right? So we have a more character stats list. That's great. Okay. I need to also think about the fact that I might have multiple characters, right? Which is also a problem. There is a lot of problems. I'll figure this out eventually. Yeah, so we get this. This was previously connected to a single character. We need to remember that each character had an instance of this script. But now I have this character level up UI be global, so it needs to get all the characters and populate multiple of these lists. Or yeah, actually that's a good point. So this might be kind of bad now that I think about it. But okay, so we can have a more character stats. We should also maybe have a list of the characters or something like that, right? Just so we can reference everything all the time. So we might have more character stats, a class like that. We might also have just a class of a character in this context, right? So it will have a public character data dot where is this? This is player manager dot selected character, and this would be the character name. The character will have a name, then the character will have more character stats, essentially. So public more character stats. Okay, and then we can have a public list. I think I'm doing this wrong. A list of type character. And this can just be the character list. Right, so each... Yeah, I don't think I need to do this because I might have all this information already available. I think my biggest problem is I don't know how to get the connections to the columnist view, which is kind of messing me up right now. Because I can't architect the code if I don't understand how it will connect into it eventually. So I can make this character list which has inside of it actually it should have a list inside of it, right? Not a, it should have this. Yeah, actually, this is what should be in there. So you get a character list, which would just be the list of characters. And then inside your character list, you have a list of stats for that character. Now, at that point, we can argue that, can't we just get the more character stats list? Or can't we do all this nonsense just, in a smarter way? And why do we need a character name? Could we use a character data, or maybe the character game object itself, right? Inside of this class. So we could. But all of this depends on me understanding what I need to do. So I feel like I had an idea how to use a list view, but I don't seem to understand how this multi-column nonsense works. It feels like it shouldn't have been this difficult. But somehow it is. So let's see. We got the column. Right, So we got this character stats multi-column list view, right? Just really a pain to work with. So previously what we would do is .make item. Right. And make item is deprecated because it only uses... So how do we make item? So let's see, make item, obsolete. Use listview.make item or treeview.make item instead. So do we do columns.make item? No. We add a column, I guess, right? So we add a column and we have a binding path. Now, I didn't work with the binding path previously. I just had a binding item. So this is it updating the stats, right? So as you scroll, this is what it would do normally. It will literally go look at the index that is shown, and it will update or view. It would show the thing we have in the list, right? Okay, so let's say we add the columns. Let's agree that this is fine. So we add the columns. We have a binding path. Column. So this is a string. Path of the target property to be bound. Okay, the target property. So in Unity, we have a bunch of problems, but anyway. Yeah, so we now have in a column, so we have our primary column, let's say, grown full, whatever. So we add a column, let's say we add a column, right? Then this column would have a bunch of stuff. Title. Name. Okay, so a name and a title. That's fine. Attribute. Visible. Width. All this good stuff. Let's just grab this and make it big. Header, cell, binding path, right? Yeah. So, this is what I'm trying to get to. So, we could actually just add the columns already and give them names, right? Yeah, so we could have the small character stats, and we can just put the columns in here. So we don't have to create all this, so we could have a column here which is just stat name, right, for instance. And this would just be stat. Okay. And the width and all this stuff, let's not worry about that. Stretchable, sortable, optically resizable. And what we want is a binding path or header cell template. I don't think those are that important. And we can have a stat value. And then it doesn't need a title. right? But it has a name, and we have a binding path that we can assign to it. Okay. So, let's save that. So if we go back to our code here, instead of adding new columns, I could just say get a column. So what if we just did column, and we call it the stat name column, and we say this is equal to character stats multi-column view dot columns and then what do we put in here? The index of the column. Could we put in the column name instead? Could we do column name? Something like this. Call it the stat name. Okay, so it doesn't seem like it likes that. Okay, so what about columns? Okay, dot get okay, maybe this should be a multi-column list view. Dot column, is that a type? Okay, wait, what is... Could we have a type here? No. But maybe we have a column, a dot? Column? No. So we just have a type of column, right? Represents a column in a multi-column view, which is multi-column list. La 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 la. Okay, so this is fine. So we go to our multi-column view, and we can get columns. Can grab the columns of the collection of columns for the multi-column header. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, unless we do query. Maybe we do query. And then we do query. And we want a column. And the name is stat name. Okay. This type, Unity column, cannot be used as a parameter t, the generic method. Okay. What if I went root? No. So we cannot do that. Can I get the column? No, I can't. Okay, so that doesn't work. So how do I get a column? So we can create a column. That's not a problem. But how do we get a column that's already made? Okay, let's go back to this. Let's see, what else can we do here? Let's just go down to this. Columns. Okay, I guess we just use columns, right? We just need to make sure we use the correct. So if we just go columns and we, columns 0, which is unfortunate. I thought the names would have, and then we do not stat name, stat value column is index 1, right? Now, what can we do with these, right? So we can do stat name column dot bind cell. So we can do a binding path. Yeah. Yeah, this is a complicated one because like binding path this should be equal to a stat name, right? And then stat value column dot binding path equals to the stat value, for instance. So if I understand this correctly, this is now referring to this, the more character stats. Okay, so that's okay, but then how do we actually get this thing, character stats view? How do we get this thing to now connect? So if we do binding, what does that do? Yeah, dot bind didn't want to work. Oh. Man, this is some interesting. So sort columns. Okay, so that's not how we do that. We need a bind. Let's see what bind does if we can find it. So this is part of the UXML attributes. Okay, visual element. So this is basically okay. Data source. That's one thing. It doesn't have bind. So that is interesting. Now, how did they bind it then? Multi-column list view. Yeah, how did they do this part? Okay, we have a binding path here, which is the monster list. So that's this. So we could do that. Binding path. So if we set its binding path, so this column should go and get that. More character stats. Hello? Oh, wait, I need to do... Right, more character stats list is the binding path. But does it understand? So it'll look, so this thing will look into there, which would look into there. Would it work though? Is this real? I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna work. This is quite a hairy one. Yeah, so we don't add columns, we just get the two columns, which is fine. Then we bind the path, and then we bind the path for the whole view. Yeah, so it'll bind now to my more character stats list. Now, all of this seems fine, but how do we... This is not going to bind, is it? I don't think so. Because how is that a path? Right, if I look at this, okay, so we created binding path. I don't know why that's not important. So okay, so we have a multi-column list view, right? Then we add columns, and that's fine. I don't worry about that, but I did do that, right? So I have my columns and everything. I have my thing. What does make cell do? This might be... Oh, this is within a column I make cells. Okay, I don't worry about that. This is kind of like making columns within a column, it seems. Yeah. Yeah. Godlike 1688. RI from SA. IR, yes. I am a South African. Turns out. Okay. So, I mean, this is kind of interesting, but I don't need that. I just need this to work. This is where things kind of don't work out for me, right? So we have a monster list, which is fine, the binding path, but I can't get the scriptable object to bind to the view. This doesn't work. Right, that part, like, even if I have the paths, how do I get that thing to bind? Let's see if do I do this inside of my... Can I do it in here, maybe? Maybe I can do it in here. Maybe I can have, you know, the source, the data source bound like that. Or maybe in the attributes. Let's see, what attributes do we have? Yeah, we don't really have anything. For my columns, obviously each of them would have a binding path. That I set in code, and that's fine. What? I assume you're asking me what are the top sports in South Africa? You might be asking the wrong person, though. I think it's rugby, right? Rugby, cricket, and to some extent soccer or football. I suppose it depends, right? We have many different cultures in our country, and they kind of like their own thing. I wonder if I can make the data source bind here. That would be interesting if I could do that. So what if I did that in code? I should be able to do that in code. Yeah, so that's the binding path, which is fine, but if I go dot binding, can I binding like that, or just do binding equals? Is that am I cooking here? So now I'm in bindings, data source maybe. Like I should be able to. Wonder bindings dot data source. Let's see if I can figure this out. So if I do bindings dot okay. That's the path. User data. This property can be used to associate a place. Okay, no, data source path. Oh, maybe this is what I'm on. Property path, visual data source path. So yeah, I can do data source type. If I do type of character. Ooh, that might be interesting. So I get a character. And then in the character we have that. Ah, okay. So if I continue with this idea, dot data, that's a type. Then we just need a path. So this is setting my data source. So that's just a type. I don't have a character necessarily. Yeah, the character hasn't been made. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm getting that. Now, I don't know if this data source, even if I connect it like that. Yeah, what is this binding path? Bindable element binding path. Because now there's more than one thing, yeah. So we have a data source and a data source path, right? And that's okay. So we can get that, but then we have this binding. Like, I don't even know where that binding is in here. We have this binding source selection mode, but I don't know if, like, this has a binding path, which this makes sense to me, right? In a way. So if I imagine this, it'll go data source path. In my estimation, is the binding path, right? And then it'll go there, and then inside of that, it'll go. These will look for what they need to connect to. Yeah, so they just did a dot bind, which doesn't work. Don't know why it's in the manual if it doesn't work. Or I'm doing something dumb. So data source assigns a data source to the visual element which overrides any inherited data source. The data source inherited is inherited by all children. Okay. A path to data source to the value. Data source type, that's straightforward. Now, how do we use data sources? Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out with this binding, right? If I put a data source in here, look, I can obviously select the types, character, UI, level up UI, right? We can go here, So we need a data source type of that, and then inside of that, we obviously can get a bunch of stuff. Oh my greatness. Can we search character stats? Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff here. But we could, for instance, go get... That's a game object. Okay, so some of this stuff... Okay, so data source path will get me to... These are public... What do I name? Oh wait, it hasn't been saved? Yeah. Okay, we'll figure that out now. Okay, let's save that. Let's see if I can... Okay, let's fix this. Like, I'm trying, right? I'm trying. Okay, here I changed the type to character, but then the path... Like, I need to create a character. Like, this is just defining a character. It didn't make a character, right? Yeah, actually, that is true. Okay, so I have a list of characters. So the character list is at least a thing, I believe. Okay, wait. We need to... Let's create a character list. Wait, could we see the character list? Can we even save this? No, we can't because there's too many flippin'... Okay, let's see if we can save this. Just want to see how this interacts with everything else. How many more errors do we have? Something here is unhappy. Yeah. Okay. Can we save now? Yeah, no more errors. So let's save and let's have it compile. I'm super interested in knowing what this is going to do. Hello? What just happened here? Yeah. Okay, it's compiling. Let's see if I can get there again, because I feel like I'm not getting anywhere right now. I'm struggling. Okay. Okay, so we can get a character list in there. Okay, this is interesting. So if we select the type here, level up UI, we get a type of character. Ah, okay, I understand. So we get character level up UI. Inside the character level up UI, there will be a character list. That is where we get our data for this column view. Now, maybe I don't want to do it that way, but I might, right? I might. Now let's see if we can figure this out. So can we? Aha. So this is interesting. How is this connected to this data? This is such a toughie. Yeah, so we can get the data source character list, for instance, but then inside the character list, there will be a character, right? So how do we now go in here, for instance, for stat name? Can we do character list, yeah, it doesn't really help me by doing what this thing does. So it's kind of not connected. I don't understand, to be honest. Maybe this bindings doesn't mean anything. I don't know. Like, I just want my columns to be connected to something. I got my columns. They got a title, a name, so I can reference them if I need to. Width and stuff I don't worry about. Resizable. The binding path is the most important thing that I need, I guess. Right, because the binding path, which is according to, let's see, that's just a normal UXML element. Let's see what it says. The path of the property to be bound. So that would be the property that is bound to that column, which in my opinion would be the stat name or the stat value property, right? That makes sense. But now above that, we need the actual list view to have a binding. It should be bound to more character stats, I believe, actually. Right? It should be bound to that, and then within it we have columns that are bound to that and that. Right. That makes sense to me. And no, but it should be a list. Something should be a list here somewhere. So let's just look at the example again. And I'm struggling badly today. So we add the column, we give them titles and width and whatever. So this wouldn't do much, will it? I'll just add two columns with some amounts of size. You can change the data source such that changing from a list float to a list vector. Okay, build them all bind it to data. You can bind to a data source and automatically populate the rows and columns based on the provided data. For example, scriptable object with the following structure. Okay. So it has a move, it has a monster, and then it has a scriptable object. You can bind to script with the following code. But this doesn't want to do it. So even if I have, because I tried this, and I'm happy to do it this way if it worked, but it doesn't work. So even if I have, let's say, public, you know what this is? I had this exact same problem. It's got something to do with the version of Unity, or the version of not just Unity but C#. But this is in Unity's, so this should work. So let's say we have a public class And we'll call this the character, right? Actually, we already have this. So the scriptable object is no, okay, now let's say public class character list. I don't know. Stat list. Okay. And we say this is a scriptable object. Public list character list of characters. Okay, character stat list. Okay, so let's see what we want. We want a list of monsters, or in this case, we have a list of characters. Not really. What I want this one to be is not monsters, but stats. Stat name. So we want stat name and stat value. So this should be a more character stats list instead. Right, and we can call it the... Yeah, actually, we want exactly this. We want a more character stats list. Now, we want more things, but the character stat list scriptable object should have that, which is a list of those things, which is what I want, right? Now, this is exactly how they do it. Now, from there, we add a bunch of columns. We add a binding path. Okay, so that's fine. We have a binding path. The binding path is more character stats list. So let's make that our binding path. And then we have a list. Okay. And then the columns look for names and moves. Names and moves. So we have a list of monsters. So it'll go through each element inside of that list. And it'll look for stat name and stat value. Perfect, right? That's exactly what I wanted to do. And we did bind them. We didn't make them stretchable or anything. We didn't give them titles. Doesn't matter. I don't care. All that stuff is sorted. But this is technically the same thing. And now this last bit here is where everything breaks. So they reckon. Okay, they reckon that I can now do var so, and I can call new serialized object, and I pass in monster team, which I'm just gonna go character stat list. Okay, so this doesn't work. I don't know where this is coming from. Serialized object. Like, let me copy this exactly. Okay, monster team. So obviously, name monster team does not exist in the current context. Did I not? So this is initializing the new serialized object. Could we do S? Okay. Could we do var SO equals the character stat list dot create instance? Is this something we can do? Maybe this is what we are supposed to do. So this is creating a new serialized object with the name Monster Team. I don't know where Monster Team's coming from. I don't see it anywhere else, which is kind of annoying. I'm assuming they created the Monster Team at some point. Right? Because this is just defining what a character stat list could be. It doesn't create one. It's just a public class, so we need to make like a private character stat list. Call it character stat list. Right, something like that. And then over here, could we then, if we actually have it like that, give it a name like that? Ah, okay. So that is exactly what the problem is. So we needed to create a new variable holding that, so we can create a serial object of that type. Okay, I'm not entirely sure why this is necessary, because I did do something like that. Anyway, so now we should be character stats multi-column view dot they do dot bind so now it works. Ah, my word. Wow. Just wow. I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't understand. Okay, so we obviously need okay, so they just made all of this, but I'm assuming, okay, so these are just what they are. You still need to actually go and create the data, right? The monsters need to be created. Yeah. So even though it's all connected, I didn't create the monsters, right? They don't exist. Wow. Okay, at least we don't get any errors. Okay, so this is how you bind it, okay? At least. Now, so the character stat list. So we just created a new instance of the character stats list to bind to that. Now, what can we do with this SO now? So this SO, this is a serialized object, not a scriptable object. Ah, I was not reading this correctly at all. So we serialized a scriptable object. My greatness, I am interesting. What the hell? Okay, so now that it's bound, so that is now bound to that character stat list. I guess. I don't actually know what can happen now. So my character stat list is obviously a scriptable object with a list of more character stats, but it's completely blank, right? So let's try to actually make something out of that list by, I don't know, doing something to it. Okay, let's see. Okay, so more character stats. Okay. Let's open up. Let's focus up. Okay, I'm gonna go to the restroom, I think, and grab myself some more coffee. So I'll be right back, and then we can continue. Let's do a overlay, hide myself, mute myself. Okay, give me 2 minutes. Hello. Okay. You know what? I actually just realized that it's already time to go. Well, that was bad timing. Okay, guys, I think I'm just going to end it there then. because I'm literally gonna start off. I'm gonna start fiddling with this again, and gonna be like 5 minutes, and then I have to go anyway. So I'm just gonna call it. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is frustrating, right? So if you stuck around, thanks. I don't even want to stick around, but I think I'm gonna play with this a little bit more offline if I can find the time, because it just requires. I feel like it. I need to struggle with it a little bit more, but I'm getting there. I'm slowly but surely understanding what I'm trying to find or trying to do here with this binding of data and stuff. And I think this is the intended way of using UI Toolkit. Now I could have just done a massive list of string labels. That would have worked, but I don't like that idea. I think I'm liking what I'm trying to do now, and I think I'm learning a lot of stuff that's going to be very useful in the future. But yeah, let me just end the stream there. Sorry for that. I didn't really realize that I was so close to the end. So I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.